And to that extent, let me now go to the topic of today, which is UNEB, National Council for Higher Education, and the Electoral Commission, guardians of democracy or enablers of privilege now. Are they enablers of privilege or social justice? It seems as if in Uganda we are suffering under what is called internalized oppression. Internalized oppression. There is an oppression in between, behind there, and I think institutions like UNEB are suffering from internalized oppression. To use the words of Justice Ogora, these three institutions are supposed to be temples of integrity. This time not justice, but integrity. They are, and both. They are supposed to be temples of integrity and justice. Are they doing it? Or because they are suffering from internalized oppression, they cannot speak out, they have no courage. I've just heard the previous speaker talking about the process is going through to have his case heard. And the moderator has just told us how one of the contenders was at UNEB begging, and the UNEB people under internalized operation are hiding. But the same institutions are quick to nullify somebody's bid for elections or for candidature. So are they neutral? Are they just? Are they fair? What are they doing? You can see that the whole process is taking place under fear. That is what I am detecting. These institutions are under fear. So the atmosphere is not fair itself. You've heard people of UNEB, UNEB I think we have heard. They have started speaking Chinese instead of writing straightforward English. I am not responsible for the identity of this fellow. Then what were you doing? They went to you to arbitrate, and all of a sudden you are speaking a language we don't understand. Is it deliberate or is it fear? So I think those of you who are listening to me, you should now understand the challenges that the electoral process is facing. Even those who want to be free and who want to be fair and just are under fear. And they have no courage to say, no, let us stand for justice, let's stand for integrity, because this is our mandate. But you can see how they have started speaking Mandarin, or Chinese, a language that most of us do not understand. Now, these institutions, in my opinion, are supposed to be, the three institutions, are supposed to be mediators of conflicts. When conflicts come there, the three, whether UNEB or National Council or Electoral Commission, they are supposed to be fair, they are supposed to be mediators, they are supposed to also to facilitate democracy. Because we are a young country, we are building democracy, we are a young democracy. So they should be enablers, as your title says, of democratic processes. And democracy is about justice, is about equality, is about inclusiveness, is about harmony, is about those things. So, are these institutions really living up to our expectations of being mediators of conflicts? Because you have two people or three who are contesting. Are they fair? Or are they promoting justice that is selective? Is it a question of selective application of justice? I am afraid that is what it is. that somebody has got a problem with his index. I have heard on TV that somebody is either a young man or he has problems with the index number. UNEB sometimes makes these mistakes. If you go to UNEB here in Ntida, you find a lineup of people every day, especially when there is going to the university or going to HSC, a line of people who are going there to authenticate their documents because UNEB made mistakes, either in the naming, in the names, missing a name, missing an index or whatever. And when you go there, it takes a very short time, and they correct the mistake, they own up the mistake and correct it. These mistakes are always there. Just last week I was at Dira in the previous exercise of registration. They missed out my name. I went there and they checked. They said, "Now we are not going to charge you even because the error was here when we were writing the other identity card." And they corrected it. So why does it take people to come and demonstrate outside the UNEB offices in order for you to go and cross-check and correct the index? However, when that is taking time, they are very quick. UNEB and the Electoral Commission is very quick to nullify somebody's candidature within no time. The burden of proof should be on those who are alleging that I don't have this one, and they are trying. Nobody is saying that they shouldn't verify those documents. They should, because they are standing for integrity. But why are you dragging your feet? If you are under fear, if you have no courage to carry out your activities, your mandate, ship out. I think Ugandans are too polite. We should just go to those institutions and barricade them. How long does it take? Now we have computers. We have this digital. We are in a digital age. How long does it take you to verify the index number of somebody and say, no, we made a mistake, or it is you who made a mistake, and therefore go home? But you start hiding under your desks. You start running through the back doors and through the toilets instead of confronting the issue and say, your index, your number is wrong. So we have a problem with these institutions. They have failed their mandate of being neutral or being fair or and administering this exercise so that we have conflict resolution. And when somebody makes such a claim, try to understand. Don't be legalistic. Don't be too legalistic. Elections is a political exercise. And if they are also going to, they want to be legalistic, why don't they now say, go to the courts of law? At times when you go there to the Electoral Commission, they say, you go to the courts of law. That's not our duty. Then at another time, they are the ones exactly nullifying you before you go to the courts of law. That means they are involved in selective application of justice. And that is not good for the country. It's not good for democracy. It is not good for peace. Promoters of integrity should be seen to be independent and not just be independent in the name, but independent Electoral Commission. I'm afraid to say the Electoral Commission and the commissioners have issues of integrity. Even the way they speak. In the last election exercise, when the candidates, presidential candidates, Amuriat and Chagurani, were molested on the day of nominations, the Electoral Commission chairperson, Jawakama Mujenyi, made a very rude joke. It was a shamble joke. When he was asked why he does not intervene because he is a chief election administrator, he said that he had not subscribed. Did you hear him? That I have not subscribed to this the MTN, not MTN. Yeah, not MTN. His card had not yet been subscribed. He hadn't gone to one of these TV suppliers, whatever, to renew his subscription, and therefore he doesn't know what happened. Amuriat came too. Jabakama Mjenyi, without shoes, with a shirt torn, that was an indicator that he had been beaten. And the whole electoral commission, you don't send your staff to go and find out what exactly happened. And the only excuse you give is that you have not subscribed for the TV. Really? That was a rude joke. And in a position like the electoral commission chairman, in charge of administering elections in the country, which elections can go bad and lives and property are lost, you just go around with that joke that I have not subscribed for my TV, and therefore I don't know what happened to Amuriat when he came to you, half naked. And you think we take you seriously? We don't. Therefore, we are saying these institutions have the mandate to mediate this exercise, but they should do it in a fair way. And if they are fearing some powers, some hidden powers, some invisible powers, let them throw in their towel and say, we hereby resign. That's when we shall know that they have the backbone. So, finally, I want to look at how this exercise is going on. My colleagues have already talked about it. First of all, that money which you are supposed to pay, I agree with the previous speaker. Why should you charge so exorbitantly? If there is some small token money that you are supposed to pay, 20,000 is enough. But you pay 600,000 because you want to verify your documents. Those offices receive a budget vote from the government of Uganda. UNEB candidates pay to UNEB. Why on earth do you charge 600,000 for verification of documents? To me, that is not fair. It is like the other elephant of ours and the rat. The foot, it seems, is on the rat, and we are claiming to be neutral, that everybody after all is paying. But there are those who have got a lot of money, and democracy should not go to the highest bidders. Those who have got, who can pay more. So that's one. Electoral Commission, I doubted their neutrality even when there were presidential elections, but it is subject to debate. That one I'm not very assertive. The candidates were supposed to be given vehicles. You know, they were given pickups. The presidential candidates, yeah? And they went and they were registering from, what is that place? Gevaja? Some place there. And they had bought, I don't know how many vehicles, maybe 15, maybe 18 pickups. But they brought there, at the nomination center, they brought only 8 vehicles. What a coincidence that you brought 8 and you nominated only 8. I want that coincidence to be explained. To me, it looks as if there is circumstantial evidence there that you had made up your mind to nominate only 8 and disqualify the rest. Why did they bring 8 and it happens that only 8 were nominated? And those candidates, the presidential candidates who were not nominated, have complained. They complained that why weren't they allowed to see how the exercise was going on there of verification of signatures. Because if you find that my signature had been used by somebody else, how do I know which one now used the signature first? Because I'm not there. I have submitted my forms. Maybe I am the first one to submit. But now somebody who submitted as number 5 or number 10, you start verifying him first. And then when you find me later, that the same signature appears, you say, it is my fault. I submitted first, the other one submitted next. How come that you are blaming me and not the other one? To avoid that one, they should have allowed people transparently to be present, their agents to be present in that exercise. That they were not present, you cannot convince anybody that you didn't. It can't be peace. It doesn't matter whether you go to the church and the mosque and preach. As long as there is injustice, there will not be peace. Ultimately, to have sustainable peace, sustainable societies, you must have justice. The question I am asking as I conclude is this: are these institutions practicing justice? If they are not, then there is a problem. If they are not practicing justice, then there is a problem. When UNEB starts writing English that is not clear, we are not a disclaimer. We are not responsible for the one who took the case there wanted that person's document to be identified. Now you are saying we cannot identify them, and then you conclude by saying, Electoral Commission, go and do what you want. Electoral Commission referred the case to UNEB. UNEB is referring the case to Electoral Commission. Electoral Commission finally is going to take it to the courts, and the courts, they will say they will make the judgment in May next year. You know how these courts in these banana republics do? This Tindiri Rusi, is that his name, the candidate in Tanzania? He was put in just a few days to elections. The courts pronounced themselves to say he's innocent. Hey. But we are going for elections. I wanted to go for elections. Now you are pronouncing yourself today. Recently, the judges here, you are the lawyers, the new bar, the new bar, or whatever the case may be. Radical new bar. There was a case. The people put a case, these candidates. I think this one is in Anita Mong's place. They took the case to the courts of law before nominations. And the judge said, nominations was already on 21st and 22nd, I don't know, for parliamentary candidates. Yeah? Now, Judge Peter Kinobe, was he the president of this association, by the way? Yes. He said, I'm going to make my ruling on 27th. Come on. Is that the law you study in law schools? I want the case to be decided before nomination. And the judge, a lawyer, with a degree in law, an adult, former president of the Law Society, says, I'm going to make the ruling on 27th. What were you doing? On 27th, if they have nominated it, so what will I be doing? Surely, is that the Law Society that we are promoting, that is promoting justice in this country? Is that, it doesn't need law now, it needs common sense. That I want a ruling before nominations, and you are putting the judgment after nominations. Well, what kind of judgment is that? What kind of ruling is that? What kind of justice is that? I participated in the making of the Constitution, by the way, this 1995 Constitution, which has been defaced. As a researcher, I'm completing. As a researcher. And I think in that Constitution they say, such a cases like that one of the political cases which need urgency, you are supposed to set aside the other issues and deal with this one because it is of public importance, because it can lead to the weakness of the integrity of the nation. That's what it says. It is there in that Constitution. So the judge now says, I will make my ruling on 27th when nominations have ended on 22nd. Let me stop here because I'm not a lawyer.